There are so many people experiencing the spiritual void now, that kind of spiritual depression. It arises out of anxiety because we attach to what's happening or what we experience in our external reality through our five senses. That leads to this depression kind of a feeling. Now, this occurs because we forget who we are. We disconnect from our divinity. We forget that we are light. We are literally light. We are light that is compressed into physical matter so that we can have experiences of duality in this physical universe. Now, the senses look for the experiences in the reflection externally to play off of so that we could see aspects of ourselves in situations and in other individuals so that we could come to terms and remember who we truly are. We have triggers that clear energetic blockages when we come into contact with something. Maybe it represents a trauma from a long time ago, but we have a memory of that trauma in a current situation. That allows that energy to come up so that we can feel it and alchemize it. That raises our frequency, right? And we use this electromagnetic universe to be able to have those experiences. But there is something interesting that occurs a lot of times when we're feeling this spiritual depression. We're feeling just this void, this spiritual void deep within. It doesn't feel very good. It feels very uncomfortable. It just doesn't feel right. And I want to explain why. That is simply because we are starting to face inward. We're starting to turn inward and we're not finding that reflection. We are turning away from the reflection of the external reality where we have duality, something that we're comfortable with, that we're very used to, and we're turning inside to where we don't have that duality. We are sitting within with the wholeness of who we are. And we term that as a spiritual void. And that does not feel comfortable. That is not a comfortable place to be. Why? Because we are so programmed to be able to define ourselves by looking externally, to find aspects of us that we have essentially ripped away and placed in external situations and scenarios to find ourselves out there and bring it back in. But when we can look inward and sit in presence with that void, with that nothingness, that source where our ego is maybe going to think that maybe we're a little depressed, or we're just not happy, things don't really feel right, we're sitting in this emptiness. That space is you. And the interesting thing is, the paradoxical thing is, the mind doesn't have a reference for that because it lacks duality. It's the singularity of who you truly are. And in that space, in that void, you are completely whole. There is no duality. There is no separation. And that feels very foreign. So the more we sit within that space and sit with that feeling and heal the energy, those dense emotions that prevent a lot of us from going inside and feeling that because it doesn't feel comfortable, the more we can do that, the more we heal, the more we expand, the more we rejoin that wholeness of who we are. And when we start to do that, we start to receive our knowledge, our divine knowing, our intuition starts to come forward. Something starts to happen. We receive energy and knowledge and knowing from a place that is beyond this physical world. We start to rely on what we're getting in here instead of looking externally for the answers. So the next time you're feeling separated, you're feeling icky, you're feeling maybe a little bit depressed, you just don't know what's going on, life feels uncomfortable, sit with that feeling, pull yourself into your body, sit with that feeling, detach from what your five senses are showing you, and go inside and sit, because that uncomfortableness is the doorway to the real you, the wholeness, your higher self, your divine energy. It is right there beyond that doorway of uncomfortableness for you to reconnect with. And once you sink and fall into that energy, your whole life is going to change. Everything is going to start moving through you, and you're going to reconnect with aspects of you that you have long forgotten.